that somebody can legally change their sex?
At the moment, the law says a legal sex is changed with a gender recognition certificate. But legal sex is not biological sex. We are trying to emphasise that the Equality Act is talking about biological sex. It's what you were born as, your body part. You may change your legal sex at the moment with a certificate, and how that applies in different scenarios. There's a lot of confusion. There's confusion about the terminology. Even the conversation we're having shows that.
She doesn't understand. That clip has just revealed the Minister for Women and Equalities is coming on to announce a policy that she doesn't herself understand.
Or I think it's something slightly different, which is that what I think is brilliant about this exchange is that it basically punctures the entire tone and tenor of the critique that the Conservative Party has been making about these issues and attacking others for years now. Even today, the Conservative Party put out a tweet saying, we know what a woman is, Keir Starmer doesn't, or Labour doesn't. What that clip just showed there is that Kemi Badenoch herself could be said doesn't know what a woman is, or at least...
She cannot define it in terms of how you identify yourself on your birth certificate.
Exactly, i.e., that as a result of the changes and the evolution that has been made within the legal regime, which fundamentally, as Badenoch demonstrated there, the Conservatives are not proposing to fundamentally alter, this entire bit of legislation and this entire bit of kind of like public thought has changed, has evolved, has become more complicated, and the Conservative Party is basically reaffirming that. So all of that, because as we've discussed on the show before, a bit like when Rishi Sunak, said to Keir Starmer, even when Esther Jai, the mother of the murdered trans girl, Brianna Jai, was in the House of Commons saying, we know what woman is, you don't. They have reduced this consistently to a cheap gag, a cheap joke, a cheap political point, whereas we all know all of the regime around this is more complicated, which Kemi Badenoch has demonstrated this morning.
You just have to focus in on one thing. She says, yes, you can change your legal sex. That's fine. So you can change your birth certificate from being a male to a female. But she's not quite saying you can change your sex. And so therefore you might have a birth certificate which says you were a male, but you're now a female. But what happens if you get into trouble with the courts and you're going to prison?
If you are a trans person listening to that, you are none the wiser. You literally don't understand what the Conservative Party is trying to tell you about your very identity and your existence. And I think the wider point is that, and I'm going to be honest here, because I've always listened to Kemi Badenoch and thought, God, she is straight talking. You may not like what she says, but she knows her mind, she knows her policy, she knows how to get a point across. That has just crumbled to dust this morning.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.